On Tuesday, May 5th, 2026, JNIS will officially open Foster Care Awareness Month. Fire Chief recognizes firefighters on International Firefighters Day. Thank you for your service. CPS and Butterfly Warriors organize Lupus Information Session for Friday. Grisha Heiliger Martin, Minister of Tourism. Carnival 2026 has now officially come to a close. From the island, St. Martin, this is SXM Daily News for May 6th, 2026. On Tuesday, May 5th, 2026, JNIS will officially open Foster Care Awareness Month. When we think about the future, we often think about it as something distant, something that will unfold on its own over time. But the truth is, the future is not something that we wait for. It's something that we create. What we'll experience tomorrow is a direct result of what we invest in today. The way future adults show up in our society, their values, their choices, and their contributions are shaped by how we nurture and support our children right now. And while many children grow up in steel homes, we know that that is not everyone's reality. Some of our children are growing up in circumstances that none of us which was for them. In a place like St. Martin, the weight of that is different, because here we are not a statistic to each other. We know these children. We see them at the supermarket, at church, at the playground. We know their families. Sometimes we are their families, and that closeness is actually one of our greatest. Minister of Justice Natalie Tackling's speeches at the Bel Air Community Center in Cay Hill.
When we think about the future, we often think about it as something distant, something that will unfold on its own over time. But the truth is, the future is not something that we wait for. It's something that we create. What we will experience tomorrow is a direct result of what we invest in today. The way future adults show up in our society, their values, their choices, and their contributions are shaped by how we nurture and support our children right now. And while many children grow up in stable homes, we know that that is not everyone's reality. Some of our children are growing up in circumstances that none of us would choose for them. And in a place like St. Martin, the weight of that is different. Because here, we are not a statistic to each other. We know these children. We see them at the supermarket, at church, at the playground. We know their families. Sometimes we are their families. And that closeness is actually one of our greatest strengths. But it also means that when a child is struggling, that we cannot pretend that we didn't notice. There is no distance to hide behind here in St. Martin. And that awareness carries responsibility. Foster care is how we act on that responsibility. It is how we turn what we know and what we feel into something real and lasting for a child who needs it. Today, as we open Foster Care Month 2026, we do so under a theme that reflects exactly that responsibility: foster the future. Because foster care is not about providing a temporary solution, it's about shaping long-term outcomes. It's about ensuring that even when a child's circumstances are uncertain, that their future doesn't have to be. Last year, we stood here under the theme, Mending the Foster Care Net. We acknowledged that the system designed to protect our most vulnerable children must be strong, reliable, and responsive. And that work continues. Because before we can build the future, we must ensure that the net meant to catch our children is strong enough to hold them. So as we look ahead, we do so with a clear understanding that mending the net remains just as important as building what comes next. We must continue strengthening the systems, supporting the people, and addressing the gaps that put children at risk in the first place, because a future cannot be built on a weak foundation. Every child deserves the opportunity to grow up in an environment where they feel safe, supported, and valued. But for children in foster care, that sense of security depends entirely on the systems and the peoples around them. And that depends on us, on each and every one of us in this room today. It is both a moral duty, but it's also a legal obligation under the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child to ensure that when a child cannot remain with their family, that they are still protected, supported, and given every opportunity to succeed. But let me be clear that this is not about immediate care, it's about outcomes. Because when we get foster care right, we're not just helping the child in that moment, but we're influencing the trajectory of that child's entire life. We're shaping whether they feel secure or they feel uncertain, whether they see possibility or they see limitations, whether they grow up into individuals who contribute positively to society or whether they struggle to find their place in the society. And that is why foster care is not separate from the work of justice. It is deeply connected to it. We know that when children grow up without stability, without guidance, and without consistent support, that the effects do not just disappear. They follow that child into adulthood, into our communities, and sometimes into our justice system. We also know the opposite is true. When a child has a village, a stable, nurturing environment, and is supported and guided, they are far more likely to thrive. They are far more likely to become individuals who give back, who lead, and who help strengthen our society. And that is what it means to foster the future. And maybe we need to also take a step back as a community, I think, because we used to really live as a village. And now I think we all live very individualistic lives. Before, if you did something, your parents didn't have cell phones at the time, but before you reach home, your mother knew and was standing there waiting to beat you. Because the neighbor let her know, because the neighbor was raising you the same way that your family was. And I think that maybe as a society, we need to go back to that village concept. And with that, I want to be clear about what this month is asking of us. For those who have considered fostering, take the next step. Ask the question, start the conversation, find out what it involves. We need more families willing to open their homes, and that starts with people being willing to find out if they can. For those who cannot foster directly, there is still a role. Supporting a foster family, being part of a child's extended network, staying connected to this work in whatever way you're able to, that matters as well. A village is built from many different kinds of contribution. And for those of us responsible for the systems that support our foster care, the work is to make sure that families who step forward are met with support that they need to succeed. And that is an ongoing commitment, not a one-time effort. This month is not a celebration of an idea. It's a reminder of a real and present responsibility, and one that belongs to all of us. As Minister of Justice, I also want to be transparent about where we stand and where we are headed. Foster care is not just a social services matter. It sits within the justice portfolio because we understand that the protection of a child and the prevention of harm are inseparable from the broader work of building a safe and just society. And if we are honest, we know what can happen when children grow up without stability, without consistent care, and without the tools that they need to navigate the world. Some of them, as I said before, unfortunately find their way into our justice system. But not because they are bad people, but because nobody invested in them early enough. My position as minister is straightforward. It is far better to invest in prevention than in punishment. Every child who grows up supported, stable, and with a sense of belonging is a child less likely to end up on the wrong side of a courtroom. That is not just a social argument, it's a justice argument. Which is why one of the most practical things we can do is to make sure that the families who open their homes are not financially strained for doing so. In the draft 2026 budget that's still under handling, we have actually more than doubled the stipend that we've given to the Court of Guardianship to be able to provide to foster families. It's a starting point, it's not an end point. And with that, I also want to mention that we're currently working with SOAB to conduct a proper study on what the actual costs are associated with fostering and raising a child here in St. Martin, so that our future decisions That study is so that our future decisions are grounded in real numbers and rather than estimates. It's not just me saying here's $500,000, which is the amount that we raised it to, up from 200,000, but so that we really know what is the cost for a foster family and so that we can ensure that we match these numbers and can make policy around that.
International Firefighters Day was observed on Monday, May 4th, 2026, around the globe, and the Fire Chief of the St. Martin Fire Department, Clive Richardson, is extending sincere appreciation to the dedicated men and women who serve on the front lines to protect lives, property, and the environment across the country. On Monday, International Firefighters Day provided an opportunity to recognize the courage, commitment, and professionalism of firefighters who respond to emergencies at all hours and under challenging conditions. Whether combating structural fires, responding to traffic accidents, assisting during natural disasters, or providing critical rescue services, the personnel of the St. Martin Fire Department remain steadfast in their mission to safeguard the community. Fire Chief Richardson highlighted that the department's strength lies in its highly trained professionals who consistently demonstrate bravery, teamwork, and a deep sense of duty. Firefighters are often called upon to make split-second decisions in life-threatening situations, and their readiness to respond at any moment reflects their unwavering dedication to public safety. On this International Firefighters Day that took place on Monday, we recognize and honor the sacrifices made by our firefighters and their families, Fire Chief Clive Richardson stated. Their commitment to service, often in the face of danger, is a testament to their character and their passion for protecting the people of St. Martin. We are proud of their continued dedication and professionalism.
To congratulate actually the firefighters of St. Martin with the International Firefighters Day. That was actually on the 4th of May. But I want to make use of this opportunity, although it's the 6th of May today, for me to still congratulate the firefighter and acknowledge once more their commitment and their services that they are guaranteeing 24 hours a day to the community of St. Martin.
Carnival 2026 has now officially come to a close, and I would like to take a moment to reflect on the season and acknowledge its impact on the country. This year's Carnival brought strong energy to Phillipsburg and Carnival Village, supported cultural expression, generated economic activities, and created opportunities across multiple sectors. One of the key entertainment activations within this year's Carnival season was the return of Soccer Rumble 2026. So, Carnival was intentionally positioned not simply as a standalone show, but as part of a wider Carnival product and broader cultural tourism strategy. Firstly, I'd like to publicly thank 3 stakeholders who supported the execution of Socombo 2026 and helped make the event possible. These are long-standing partners that have consistently supported a platform and the development of St. Martin's culture, said Minister of Tourism Grisha Heiliger-Martin at the DCOM press briefing on Wednesday.
Carnival 2026 has now officially come to a close, and I would like to take a moment to reflect on the season and acknowledge its impact on the country. This year's Carnival brought strong energy in Phillipsburg and Carnival Village, supported cultural expression, generated economic activities, and created opportunities across multiple sectors. One of the key entertainment activations within this year's Carnival season was the return of Soccer Rumble 2026. Soccer Rumble was intentionally positioned to not simply as a standalone show, but as part of a wider Carnival product and broader cultural tourism strategy. Firstly, I'd like to publicly thank 3 stakeholders who supported the execution of Soca Rumble 2026 and helped make the event possible. These are long-standing partners that have consistently supported the platform and the development of St. Martin's cultural music industry. Telem once again supported the SMS voting platform, continuing a partnership that has existed for years. This year, they elevated audience engagement by awarding each winner with an iPhone. St. Martin Tourist Bureau took an expanded role this year by fully funding the event and launching a palette activation called Feast and Fete. This concept connected cultural cuisine, entertainment, and Carnival Village entrepreneurship into one integrated experience, allowing both visitors and residents to engage more directly with our local cultural product while simultaneously supporting both booth holders and vendors during the Carnival season. And lastly, Funtopia served as an event promoter and delivered strong execution across the production, staging, performers, and dancers, and overall audience experience. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate both the winners of this year's Soca Rumble, Shift with Squat and Go Down, and Jabs with Alignment. Both artists will automatically secure a place in Soca Rumble 2027 and as the competition returns to its original format and roots. In addition, all contestants will be invited to participate in a development workshop aimed to help strengthen and elevate the local soca art form. These sessions will be open to both new and existing artists free of charge as part of our continued investment into the creative industry, the orange economy. Soca Rumble 2026 generated approximately 1,500 tickets in ticket sales, while overall attendance was estimated at just over 2,000 patrons, matching the attendance recorded during the very first Soca Rumble held in 2015. The event was intentionally structured to ensure that the economic and cultural benefits intended beyond the stage itself. That included complimentary transportation, entry, and tasting experience for visitors, direct patronage for Carnival Village booth holders through the voucher system, full compensation for participating vendors, support for artists, dancers, musicians, and production crew, investment into pyrotechnics, rehearsals, staging, and overall performance quality, music production support for winners, and automatic entry into the Soca Rumble 2027 for the champions. Importantly, this initiative was never viewed strictly as a competition. From the beginning, we communicated that Soca Rumble was a developmental platform for local talent. Every artist who stepped on that stage benefited through exposure, experience, production support, and audience reach. Many of the soca artists our people know today started on platforms exactly like this before moving into a larger regional and opportunities. And that is the pathway we're rebuilding. While Soca Rumble helped spotlight the talent on our stages, Carnival 2026 was, as a whole, also highlighted the creativity, entrepreneurship, and cultural energy that extended far beyond the performance themselves. The ministry wishes to recognize the creativity and effort displayed by Carnival Village booth holders throughout Carnival 2026, particularly along the Bacchanal Boulevard, who played a major role in the overall atmosphere and visitor experience during the season. I would like to take this opportunity to officially announce the winner of the Best Design booth on the Bacchanal Boulevard. Special congratulations is extended to Ms. Christine Lake of Booth 24 for her outstanding booth presentation, which stood out for its creativity, its ambience, presentation, and overall execution. This level of innovation and pride is exactly what continues to strengthen Carnival and booth and cultural celebrations and economic driver for St. Martin. Looking ahead, Carnival must continue evolving beyond entertainment alone. It must continue creating opportunities for entrepreneurship, tourism engagement, cultural preservation, and talent development. Soca Rumble 2026 successfully brought back nostalgia while introducing a more modern and inclusive model that tied directly into the wider Carnival ecosystem and visitor experience. The ministry intends to continue building on that foundation moving into Carnival 2027, because culture is also an economic development. And when properly structured, our culture events can continue operating opportunities, creating opportunities for our people while strengthening St. Martin's identity as a Caribbean destination. That said, with every major event comes important lessons. This year, I made a conscious effort to immerse myself deeper into Carnival environment, and you can hear it in my voice. To observe, listen, and better understand the role each stakeholder plays in making Carnival what it is. And one thing became very clear. Carnival is a shared responsibility. I want to repeat it so everyone can understand. Carnival is a shared responsibility. Why do I say that? Government cannot carry Carnival alone. Carnival is a multi-million guilder ecosystem powered not just by government, but by the promoters, the bands, the vendors, the revelers, and the private sector. More businesses need to become actively involved and recognize that supporting Carnival is not just sponsorship. It is an investment in our economy, our culture, and our tourism product. At the same time, we as a people must also understand how we conduct ourselves matters. One person's behavior should not spoil the experience for others or damage the image of the country. Carnival is about culture, celebration, and community, not lawlessness. Moving forward, there will be a strong focus on structure, standards, and accountability. We must also have to be honest with we must also have an honest conversation about the level of profanity and explicit content that was heard throughout parts of Carnival. Whether through music played by some booth holders, DJs, or even at times from the bands themselves, we have children present and they are watching, and we must be mindful of the environment we create around them. This concern was raised repeatedly by members of the public, particularly regarding certain genres and styles of music being heavily played in public spaces throughout the day and evening. Carnival is for all ages, and while we understand the energy and the culture of the festivities, there must still be balance and responsibility. As a result, the Ministry of ECYS, Justice, and TIAT intend to meet and discuss practical ways to address these concerns moving forward, while still preserving the spirit and cultural identity of Carnival.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
DCOM, the Collective Prevention Services, CPS, a department in the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labour, Ministry VSA, and Butterfly Warriors Lupus Support Group, have collaborated to organise an information session for Friday, May 8, 2026, starting at 6 p.m. at the Government Administration Building, Rooms 1 and 2. May is Lupus Awareness Month. On Friday evening, there will be guest speakers, presentations, testimonials, and refreshments. May 10, 2026 is World Lupus Day under the theme Belonging, Belief. This day is used to increase awareness of the symptoms and health effects of lupus, an autoimmune disease that affects millions of people worldwide. The 2026 theme is Make Lupus Visible. The focus is on the invisible nature of the disease. Because many symptoms, such as extreme fatigue, joint pain, and cognitive issues, are not always apparent to observers, patients often face a lack of understanding from the public, employers, and at times, healthcare providers. You cannot catch lupus from someone else. While it can affect anyone, 90% of people living with lupus are women, and it is most common during childbearing years. It is estimated that at least 5 million people worldwide have a form of lupus. Port St. Martin Group, PSG, management advises the public that repair work on the lighting system continues at the Causeway Bridge. This includes a Monday to Friday one-lane closure for vehicular traffic from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., which will commence on Tuesday night, May 5th, 2026. This maintenance is a part of PSG's continued commitment to enhancing both the functionality and visual impact of one of the island's most prominent landmarks. A lift system has been positioned on the bridge to facilitate the repairs, and crews will be working at various points along the structure during the coming months. Pedestrians are advised to exercise caution while using the bridge and to keep a safe distance from the lift equipment and maintenance personnel at all times when it is in use. Additionally, pedestrians and others are advised not to tamper with the equipment, as it could put the personnel in danger when they start to operate the lift. The public's cooperation is appreciated as these essential works are completed to improve safety and visibility on the Causeway Bridge. The upgrade in lighting will improve the Causeway Bridge's nighttime visibility while reinforcing its picturesque presence along the Simpson Bay Lagoon corridor at night.
Now for the weather forecast, today through Thursday morning. Fair to partly cloudy. Brief isolated showers are possible. Surface winds, today through Thursday morning, easterly with a light to moderate breeze at 7 to 14 mph. State of the sea, smooth to slight. Waves, swells, up to 4 feet. Outlook through Friday morning, fair to partly cloudy. Isolated showers are possible, and now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
Curaçao's Minister of Social Development, Labor, and Welfare, Charity America, has pledged to continue structured dialogue with trade unions, saying the government remains committed to working with labor organizations and the private sector to address workers' concerns and build a stronger labor market. The commitment was made during the island's Labor Day observance, where labor issues, poverty, and worker dignity took center stage. The day began with a holy mass at the Santa Familia Parish, where reflection and social dialogue formed the foundation of the gathering. Minister America, second from left, during the church service. During the service, Pastor Curtis Merris delivered a message directed especially at young people, encouraging them not simply to choose a job, but to pursue a calling connected to purpose and meaning in life. In her address, Minister America stressed the central role of workers in Curaçao's social and economic development. She described labor as the foundation of the country's progress, stating that without the daily commitment of workers, there would be no economy, no healthcare system, and no advancement for the island. The minister also addressed the issue of poverty, acknowledging that it remains a serious reality for many families on Curaçao. However, she emphasized that long-term solutions cannot rely solely on social assistance. According to America, real poverty reduction must tackle the root causes by creating opportunities through education, access to work, and economic participation. She strongly highlighted labor as a tool for transformation. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.